Hello everyone. Today we have Mr. Rajeev Krishnan, Director of Myra School of Business. Mr. Rajeev has a rich experience of over 30 years in the industry, and due to his immense passion to give back to the community, to give back to education, which made such a huge difference in his life, he has joined Myra School of Business as a Director of Integrated Education, Placements, and additionally executive education. Sir, it's a pleasure to welcome you and thank you so much for taking out time for our students. Uh, Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
So, sir, I will start the interview with a very, very basic question. You have been an industry veteran. You have worked with so many big companies like Target, Walmart, Spar, McKinsey. You have worked in USA, and you have worked in all different domains and functions of the business. All of a sudden, you came to Myra in Mysore from a hotshot life in the US. What was the inspiration, sir?
My life is, I believe in destiny.
Mhm.
I believe in destiny, and I think everything happens for a reason. I still ask myself that question every day when I get up saying, wow, how did I have the courage and guts to make such a big change? I mean, as you said, I was in the retail industry for almost 34 years at pretty senior level positions with some great companies. And then I decided to just move into education. I think it was a journey and not a sudden decision, first of all. A little bit of background. I studied at St. Joseph's College, Bangalore. And I did my Bachelor of Arts there. And unfortunately, life did not, or my journey didn't permit me to get any higher education, which, I regret at times, but I got it in a professional way. But that said, I think the 5 years at Joseph's really defined who I became in life. The guidance that I got from my principal then, Father Nelipathy, and whatever experiences I went through had a lot to do with what I am today. So I think education was always there in my head somewhere in terms of why that's important in your career and life, and not just a career in a sense. So that said, I think in 2017, I was surprisingly invited as one of the guest speakers at Myra for one of the webinar sessions. And the moment I walked into that campus, I fell in love with it. There was just no other way to describe it. I mean, it was just magical. I mean, I think a lot of people have seen pictures of Myra, or those of you who have seen pictures of Myra, trust me, it is that and much more. I mean, it just inspires you to want to study or want to create, want to innovate, want to be in groups debating, discussing, all that stuff that I kind of did when I was younger. And that day actually kicked off my journey into education, where I started speaking at a lot of campuses, a lot. And out of that came out a lot of mentoring that I started doing for students who reached out to me, I reached out to them. And then about 10 months back, I had an opportunity to meet our current dean, Amrish Ramashastri at Myra, and Kantraj, who's the owner. And I think it took all of one and a half meetings for me to say, this is what I want to do. I think the vision that Dean had and the passion that Kantraj had and the value systems and the campus and the faculty that Myra already was, I said, you know what, I didn't see a risk, but an upside to give back to the system in some form. So long story, but that's how retailer came into education. So.
Right, sir, right. So from a retailer to a mentor and motivational speaker to now a leader in Myra School of Business. So you have also been felicitated in India's Inspirational Leaders 2018-2019 in London. So what's your philosophy on leadership, sir? How would you describe your leadership style?
Wow, that's a loaded question. When I got that award, I was embarrassed, I think, first, because I didn't think I deserved it. Honestly, I didn't think I deserved it. There are a lot more people, peers in the industry that I personally know, and those I don't, that I think are much more deserving. But that day also gave me an opportunity to think of my life's journey and say, why might I have received it in a sense? And from an aggressive, intense, passionate young guy who was just out there trying to make a life in the 20s, I think as my journey of life kind of progressed, I realized it was only about making somebody else better around you. And that became my, I think, passion in life, in a sense that I needed to see people succeed. I needed to see teams succeed. And that's what gave me my mojo. That's what got me inspired in the morning. So I don't know it. I think it's sometimes defined as servant leadership, which is make other people better around you. And that selfish motive, in a sense, was always gave results. If I surrounded myself with the right people and I made sure they succeeded, most times the business always succeeded, 99.9% of the time. So I think style has been over the years about that, and building trusting organizations. I believe trust is and was the most critical dimension of any amount of success I might have got. Because if I am a tough boss, I always was, I'm very challenging, very demanding. But I always noticed that if I built that trust within the team, we would go out there and give our lives to make anything happen. So I'm passionate about what I do. I love what I do. I think my daughter always says, Daddy, what I love about what you do is I've never seen you kind of going to work. You always seem to be passionate, and you always loved what you did. And I hope I can be that. I think that was the biggest compliment I could get. So I don't know if that's a style or not, but that's who I am.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Ultimately, it's all about the people. The better we manage people, the better leader we are.
Yeah.
So, sir, let's talk a bit more about your roles and responsibilities to the Myra School, and what do you think your duty towards the students are, and what's your duty towards Myra School of Business as a brand?
I think our brand is our student, first of all, and last of all. So I don't think there's anything above or beyond that. And Dean Ambrish Kantraj, who is our managing partner, myself, faculty, I think every one of us is committed to only that one objective, which is, make a difference in the life of every student that comes in. And I might be sounding very philosophical, but I think the vision and mission that we've all set for ourselves at Myra is very clear in terms of education is important. And we made sure that fits into what industry requires today. So Myra is different from other schools from that perspective. And secondly, we focus a lot on holistic development, which is personal development too. We just had a current batch graduate about 45 days back. And I think it brought tears to most of our eyes when almost all of them to a T said, you made a difference in our lives. You helped me grow. I've become a better person. I've learned something about myself. I think that is extremely gratifying. So we're a business school, but we want to develop a holistic leader, a change leader for the future. I think that's what we want to give back to both the student, society, and the system. So.
Right, sir. Right. Creating a difference in the life of students. That does sound something philosophical, but ultimately that's what every teacher, every educator wants, I believe. Sir, so when we talk about creating a difference and making students industry ready, what are few practices which you follow at Myra School of Business? For instance, some industry integrated programs, or maybe some company related internships or live projects, which help students get industry ready.
I think there's a lot of basic stuff that every business school is doing. So internships, I think everybody's doing it. I think webinars are happening everywhere. But I think one of the most important things that the dean, our faculty, led by the academic side, led by Dr. Prakash Nair, the rest of the faculty, what has beautifully come out in the last year or so, and even beyond that, has been that our curriculum, first of all, is more industry ready than ever before. So while the faculty themselves are making sure that what they are teaching is what industry requires, we're also getting a lot of people like myself joining in the journey at Myra. Mm-hmm. So our curriculums have got some senior industry leaders participating in it in terms of building it and even delivering it, which is quite different from what a lot of other schools do. A webinar in itself is a dissertation in a sense, but this is truly the course itself is being, co-developed by a lot of individual people, leaders in the corporate sector, as well as senior faculty members. Secondly, I think we're also seeing a lot of, we've already started the journey where some big companies across India, and I can't take all the names as yet because some of it is still work in progress, are co-developing courses with us. So there is a dual motive. One is that the course itself adds a lot of, there's a lot of value to that course. And secondly, we're getting students who are actually industry ready. I mean, I came from the corporate sector, and I remember I would always say, 7 out of 10 students potentially were not industry ready when they came out. They were degree certified, but they were not ready to start that journey. So I think some of the programs we're putting together with some top companies, top brands in India across sectors is going to redefine how business schools teach what happens. So that without a doubt. And then this year onwards, we've also embarked on, our career services program itself is now, it's really extensive. So it's over 2 years, but you're going to see industry mentors who are going to personally mentor each of our students. So rather than saying, I'm just going to come in as an industry expert, I'll give a speech and go away, you're going to find our student cohorts being mentored by people in the sectors that they want to grow in. So it's personal development, it's professional development, and it's guidance for them in terms of how and where and what to look for as their career progresses. So, and even the webinars and all that, it's about fitting into the curriculum. It's not just about somebody coming giving a speech. So we're doing quite a bit of extensive, different pieces of the relationship are being worked on, if you want to call it that, between academia and industry in order to take it to a big level. Our dean says, and I think it's, we all believe in it today, we want to bring business back to the B school. And that's Myra's mojo, that's Myra's motto, and that's what we want to do. It's not just a course that's going out, but we want that place to be a hub of entrepreneurship and innovation and learning, so that when that person goes out in their job, they already know what a lot of what to expect and perform.
Right, sir. We talked about bringing business back to business schools. That brings me to a question which is quite peculiar for this specific MBA programs. Sir, today we see MBA colleges in every nook and corner of the country. And as you said, 7 out of 10 graduates are not industry ready, they are degree certified. So how do you see the future of MBA programs? And additionally, I would also like you to comment on the aspect of online MBA programs, which lots of institutions are providing now.
I think two very important questions, Sumit, and two very different and diverse questions. So let's take one at a time.
Right.
I'm going to start backwards. I think COVID has really turned the world upside down in terms of digital education. You can see the valuation of Baiju and everything else. Yeah. And you can see online courses popping up every nook and corner. So I think just like you said, there are MBA courses all over the place. I think therefore there will be a lot of online MBA courses all over the place also. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's going to define the future. I think what is going to define the future is the quality of and the perfect blend of these courses. So I don't think online is just going to run on its own, or neither offline is going to run on its own. I think you're going to see a blend of. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to see omni-channel in education. We used to call it omni-channel in retail. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to see omni in education. And that doesn't mean you just offer an MBA course here and you go to a physical building, and I just offer an MBA course here and I do it on a laptop. Mm-hmm. I think this is going to evolve and a lot of stuff is going to come out. The second question then therefore is, well, where is it going to come from? I honestly believe, I think it's going to come from the relationships that, or the journey that Myra is taking, for example, which is we need the right participants involved in the journey, which is education doesn't sit today on its own on one side in a book, and neither does it sit on the other side in a webinar. Mm-hmm. I think the right blend of the right minds coming together to develop all this is the perfect way to educate somebody, because when they finish a college degree, they will then go out to a corporate job, which they need to be successful at. So I think you're going to see a huge evolution, and a lot of these, colleges that are just listed are all going to possibly, drop by the wayside, because the student is also quite wanting in terms of, knowing in today's digital age that I want better education. I want education that's more relevant to industry today. I want education from people who know what they're saying and doing it. All that is going to become even more and more important. So I think you're going to see a huge blend of both happening. And I think this MBA thing is going to continue developing. It can't be the curriculum of 20 years back. continue to be in the curriculum of tomorrow. I mean, if you look at the last 2 years itself, industries changed because of COVID. I mean, the way you thought, how you did, your own work experience, that you're sitting on the other side, you're doing things very differently. And that can become a way of life. So I think we're all going to have to adapt and teach our students what that future looks like. So a lot of innovation, a lot of entrepreneurship. I think all that is going to come out even stronger in MBA colleges, which Myra stands for. So.
If I want to define it in a few lines, I would say creative disruption is what's going to happen in terms of MBA institutes as well.
Totally. It has to happen. It's a requirement almost.
Right. Sir, what also brings me to this, that quality of education with the quantity of institutes. So now that we talked about so many institutes coming up, and definitely there's going to be a blend in online education and offline education, and new things are going to come up. But there is always a concern that with the number of institutes growing up, with the number of institutes, mushrooming around every place, the quality is decreasing because you do not have that many qualified teachers. Additionally, you do not have that same quality of education maintained over all places. So how would you address this concern?
See, my mother was a teacher and one of my inspirations. I don't believe there's a dearth of teachers in India. I don't. And I say that from two perspectives. I think education has always had a very high priority in India. So from childhood, and I'm not saying the other countries across the world don't, your parents, my parents, our expectations of what they wanted us to do, how much they wanted us to achieve and whatever, has been huge. I think there are enough and more teachers in India that need to be honed, cultivated, and brought out and offered jobs and offered responsibilities that are available there, first of all. I also see a huge opportunity to bring the teaching faculty from the industry side. So with people, and I'm talking specific business school now, and I'm not talking in general, I'm talking, with business school. I think there's a huge opportunity to bring in qualified people who also know, who are also passionate both about industry and education. So I don't see a dearth of. I think it's what each individual institution chooses to do. Like Myra said, we want to make sure that we have the best possible faculty, and that best possible faculty came from multiple places. People who are very strongly educationally qualified, and also people who are both strong education as well as strong industry profiles. So I think that the talent is there. We need to find it if we choose to do it. If our institution is just out there to make a buck, if it's about money, then the course becomes different. But if it's about doing the right thing and making sure the student is getting the best education possible, and I'm also being successful as an institution, then I think the mindset will be about bringing the best talent to teach. And that's available for sure. Right.
What it also, while listening to you, what I also thought that maybe this is not such a bad thing with so many institutions, because in a country like ours, we have to make education accessible to everyone, which is the biggest challenge right now. So it's not a bad thing.
It needs to be. I mean, it doesn't matter where you come from. I mean, we just had a couple of students graduate who were, and I say this out of respect, I mean, they were the first they came from small villages, small towns, very small villages actually. And a couple of them were the first ones in their whole entire village to be, get an MBA. And you talk about being aspirational and also giving somebody an opportunity. I'm going to see that parent, and that person just got a job this morning.
Right.
I can't take the name. That person just got a job this morning. And at 4:00 this evening, I'm going to go see the parents because it is such a proud moment for them in terms of what, and we're blessed that Myra was able to contribute to that journey. So in this case, Myra, but I think holistically, as you said, we have to be able to give people an opportunity to be successful. It doesn't matter which income bracket you fall from, or, it doesn't mean that you have to come from a metro or whatever. I mean, everybody should have an opportunity, but be given the right fair opportunities so that they succeed.
Right. So as you talked about the students, I had a question regarding students. How, you have international programs like this. So how international students can, come up and work with Myra? How does the program work?
I think we have two sets of it, two different parts of it. One is international students can come join Myra from anywhere. I think the process remains the same as our domestic students. So they would have to go through all that, their education qualifications, the entrance exam requirements and stuff. All that remains the same.
Okay.
I think we're going to really start exploding that in the next couple of years.
Okay.
While Myra really hasn't got and worked on a lot of international students coming, but we've already seen some interest in that sector. So you can see us moving and making sure that students in different countries around India are aware of Myra, because we think we offer a great opportunity for students in specific countries around India. I think the second part, we already have our international programs that we do with institutions in Germany, in Lisbon, and in Canada. So that is also giving us a different kind of exposure. Now, of course, COVID unfortunately stopped that. We've not been able to do anything until I think it settles down in the next couple of months. But that has also been a great leverage for us to send students and get students from some of these countries. And the more and more we engage in those kind of programs, I think you're going to see an international explosion of sorts, because I think India is perfectly situated, Myra is perfectly situated to encourage this kind of education, and to learn from cross-cultural communities, cross-cultural students from other institutions, other places, and enhance knowledge, basically. So.
Right, sir. Right. Definitely. And we cannot never negate the importance of a cultural education, cross-cultural education, while our education. It actually, as an Indian, we have quite an advantage compared to somebody from the Americas in terms of understanding different cultures.
Totally.
Sir,
I mean, today's global economy, there's no choice here. I think there is a lot of cultural integration going on as it is, and the world is becoming much smaller. So I think anything we can do to encourage that and teach our students, that will be even bigger. So.
Right, sir. Right. Sir, I have one more question regarding the education system in India. So, with the new education policy being implemented, right, there are, cross-domain education which has to be offered by institutions, right? So, how does Myra see itself fit in the NEP?
I think it's too early to comment on, every change is a journey. And you're talking about the new education policy that's coming in after a couple of years. So I think it's had a lot of people participate in putting it together. A lot of people with good intent trying to say, these are the changes that are required. Now I think we have to give it time, because this will not be a light switch saying the program starts on August 1st and everything just changes by August 10th. I think this is also be a journey where there will be some things, hopefully all of it works, but there may be some challenges within that, which I think as we come across it, we will then understand what to do differently, change, keep it the same, so on and so forth. So I see this as an evolution, and Myra's clearly in the journey to say, okay, how best can we embrace NEP? How can we make it work? And if there are some challenges within that, then it's our responsibility to also, bring it out, share it, and say what needs to be done differently if that's the case. But I think the policy in itself is a good step in terms of, things need to evolve, things need to change. The world is changing. Right. So I think it's very encouraging to see that change happening. Now we need to see how fast that change can be implemented, which is normally the challenge. But Myra is supportive and intends to drive that change also.
Sure, sir. Sir, we talked about challenges here with NEP. So you are donning multiple hats at Myra. You are the Director of Integrated and Executive Education, Placements and Career Services, Admissions, and overall the brand Myra as well. So what are the key challenges you are facing? I mean, you are doing so many things at the same time. I'm pretty sure you are facing lots of challenges as well.
If I think my experience in the corporate sector without a doubt helps, because I've been part of huge organizations. I think the Walmarts, the Targets, the Spas, these are all multinational big companies. So, and I don't say that with arrogance. I say that because I think those learnings have definitely helped in terms of, I had to manage multiple functions. Hundreds and thousands of people worked within my teams. So I think all that comes naturally. I think what has been the learning is, what do I need to learn from the educational system in terms of, what has to be done different, while some of it may be the same. Running a business is running a business. Eventually, it's about making sure you have the right people in the right job. I think that's my first and most fundamental philosophy. If you put the right person in the right place, things move. So that's what I think we've always tried to focus on in Myra, and that's what we do. I think the rest of it has been, yeah, there are days, I mean, I'm working longer hours than I did as a managing director of Spark. No two ways about it. But, I don't go to sleep frustrated. I have not gone to sleep frustrated in the last 8 months. I think each morning I get up because there is an energy to say, the work we're doing is about making Myra better. The work we're doing is about making the student coming in, giving them a better opportunity. So, yeah, there's a juggling of a lot of hats, but nothing different from what I've done. Clearly learning some new trades and new tricks of the new trades. How does admission work? But very similar, admissions to me was about recruiting great employees at a corporate sector. Placements was about career pathing a great employee in the corporate sector. So a lot of parallel thought processes. Marketing is marketing. I mean, I've always been fascinated by building brands. I was part of some amazing brands in Target and Spar, and we got some amazing recognition over those years. So I think those learnings are also, value added in terms of what I'm doing. I have some great mentors right now. I mean, Dean Amrish itself is a wealth of knowledge coming from both corporate and the education sector. Some amazing faculty, Prakash Nair, Dr. Nair, Dr. Christopher, Professor Kiran. I mean, there are just so many people there that you pull from the education perspective. And then my student group itself. I mean, I've learned a hell of a lot from the group that's already graduated and the group that's here, because this journey is about them. So you need to listen. If you listen, you can also navigate through that pretty effectively. So yeah, challenging days, fun days, but I wouldn't trade it for the world yet. I mean, I'm absolutely blessed to be at Myra School of Business. And I'm not saying that as a sales pitch. I can go out there and possibly get a damn good corporate job also tomorrow. But I wouldn't trade it for the world right now, because the experience is, I told you in the beginning, it's destiny. And I think I was meant to be here. Now, I just hope I can help Myra become better, stronger, and an awesome brand in the years to come.
Right, sir. Right. It was like listening to you. It was like seeing in the future that there's something like that happens to each and every one of us. That when we get up and we are not frustrated, we are energized about what we are going to do.
Yeah.
So, sir, I would like to since we are closing on time, I would like to end this interview with one question where we generally ask all our guests. There are lots of students who want to do MBA or who are currently pursuing MBA. Any suggestions you would like to give to the students?
I think I would start with a general suggestion first, and then maybe something specific about MBA. I think the general suggestion that I've always personally believed in, and I tell everybody I come across, whether they're young or in the midlife of their careers or whatever, do what you love doing. I think that's the most important thing I could possibly advise anybody. I think we are in a system, in an ecosystem that has a lot of peer pressure. There is a lot of family pressure. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but it's been our way of life, where people tell us, you have to do this degree, or you have to go into this particular area or whatever. So I think the first thing is know what you want to do to some degree. I mean, you're not going to know your life at 20 and 21 in terms of, this is what I would love doing. So spend some time thinking about that before you pick your degree. Till the degree stage, maybe that's also okay. But once you get into the post-graduation stage, you need to be pretty sure. Do I want to go towards an engineering field? Do I want to go into management? And it's not even just about management. It's what do I want to manage after that? Do I want to be in healthcare? Do I want to be in the entertainment industry? There are so many opportunities in India and the world today. Unlike an MBA degree from 20 years back, which only took you down a certain path, today there's management in so many different areas. So I would also say that before you join an MBA college, first be clear in terms of what would you like to specialize in, what would you want to be, 15, 20 years from now. What industry would you want to be? Not what job I want to be, what industry I would love to be. Because work pressure is going to be there. Everybody is going to be, all those demands are going to be there. But if you can go home tired but not frustrated, then you pick the right career in the first place. So I think when you pick your MBA, think about that. And then look at the school in terms of its faculty and people who are involved in it. To me, that's the most critical thing. I mean, those are the people that will change or help you define who you are at the end of the day. It's not the physical building, it's the people within that building. So do your due diligence in finding out, who's the dean, who's the faculty, who are the industry. It's not even about I place everybody. Placements can't just be the only definition of saying that school is great. Yes, it's important, but the education you get within that before you get placed, I think is even more important, because that will define whether you succeed after you get placed. Everybody who gets placed doesn't succeed necessarily. So pick that college or pick that school that defines those two things. Is it the right place for me? And can the people there help me live my dreams, help me achieve my dreams, help me achieve my goal? To a large extent, if those two questions are answered, I think you're going to be successful and you'll pick the right place because you picked the right place. So
that was really helpful and that was really insightful as well. I mean, for me as well, getting to know which industry I want to be in, going home tired but not frustrated. These are some great learnings coming from some industry veteran himself. So I'm pretty sure students will find this interview really helpful, really insightful. And I request all our students to go on Myra School of Business website and see what this institute has to offer to you. So it has been a great pleasure to talk to you. And I would like to thank you again for taking out time for our viewers and our students who come on Collegedunia website. I hope that we continue this relationship. And I'd like to thank you on behalf of everyone. Thank you so much.
Sumit, I would like to thank you and Collegedunia also. You guys have been great partners. Mm-hmm. And again, not a sales pitch. I think it's been an honor and a privilege talking to you. Mm-hmm. And whoever watches, at least come and check out Myra. Take a look, because I think there is something special going on. Right. And if we can do anything to help you in that journey, we're here. So thank you and have a great time. So cheers. Bye.